Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 6th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is a CBC Morning Report. Now, there are big expectations for more trade and economic development between Barbados and Suriname. This as a Surinamese delegation arrives here in Barbados for a series of meetings with government officials today. It's all part of strengthening economic cooperation between Bridgetown and Paramaribo under the Broco-Pondo Agreement. Special Envoy to Guyana and Suriname, Alfie Wiggins, joins me here live now to speak about the visit and the importance of it to both countries. Good morning, Special Envoy. Always great to have you here with me on the Morning Report.
Good morning, Shane, and thank you very much.
Talk to me about this special visit by this Surinamese delegation. Of course, we are rolling out of COVID. The first time we've had the Surinamese back here in Barbados since the start of the pandemic. What are some of the highlights that we are looking forward to over the next few days?
So, Shane, over the next few days, the bulk of the delegation actually arrives today. About 5 members came in yesterday. About 17 members will be arriving today, and that's both ministerial and private sector delegation. As you may know, the Broco-Pondo arrangement was signed in 2018 by the government of Barbados under Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley and the former president of Suriname. So what we're seeking to do would be to update the Broco-Pondo arrangement, because post-COVID now, I can't even say post-COVID, but we're looking to put new arrangements in place between the two countries. Um, the ministerial delegation will be led by the Foreign Minister, His Excellency Mr. Albert Ramdin, and we will be looking to roll out a new Broco-Pondo arrangement between the two countries in many different functional areas.
What are some of the key areas that we're looking at in terms of that economic development? Of course, we're rolling out of COVID, trying to get our economies back on track. What are some of those key sectors that will give us the impetus that we're looking for?
So, some of the key sectors that we will be looking at, as always, agriculture and food security will be one of the main areas that we'll be looking at. We will be continuing the joint partnerships between Barbados and Suriname that we would have started a few years ago. We're also looking at tourism and international transport, where we're looking at marketing the three countries, Guyana, Suriname, and Barbados. We're also looking at international transportation in terms of the multilateral air services agreements between the two countries. We're also looking to that fast ferry that we've been talking about for a very long time. Those are some of the main areas that we'll be looking at in terms of what the governments want to do. But what I would say to you, Shane, is that I would not want to preempt what the foreign ministers, the most honorable Mr. Jerome Walcott and His Excellency Mr. Albert Ramdin will say. But for sure, we will be looking to refresh that Broco-Pondo arrangement in this new post-COVID environment.
One thing that I know Barbadians may ask, what's in it for me? Those Barbadian businessmen, those working in the agriculture sector, farmers, etc. What's in it for them going forward, you think, as you have been working so closely with your counterparts in Suriname and both in Guyana, but focusing on Suriname this time around?
So as always, the government is always the facilitator in terms of helping the private sector along in those functional areas of cooperation. As with all agreements, the business persons in Barbados, and as I said to you before, business to business transactions never cease with Suriname. We have been continued all during COVID doing business with Suriname. So what we want to do is to elevate the relationship further to see how business persons can get involved. And as you know, we're setting up a gold mining operation here. And Suriname also has gold. Suriname also has silica sand. Suriname also has lots of fruit and vegetables. So there are many areas of cooperation that we're looking at, including political considerations, but those will be dealt with at the government to government level.
And as far as those farmers that I know you would want to see going over to Suriname, is that still going to happen? I know you really can't talk about the refresh, but is that still a possibility?
That is very much a possibility because what the Prime Minister is looking at is functional cooperation in every single area under this Broker Ponder arrangement. And as I mentioned to you, there are 12 private sector persons in this delegation. There are rice importers, there are providers of chicken feed, there are people in the Maritime Authority, there are people in the rum industry, there are people looking at selling flour or and buying flour from Barbados. So there are many areas of functional cooperation, and those private sector delegations have already set up many of their business to business meetings that they will be having in Barbados, as well as with tour operators. There are persons in that delegation who want to see and discuss meetings with the persons responsible for the importation of electric vehicles in Barbados. There are persons who want to meet with tourism players, players in the tour bus company areas. So there are many, many meetings that we have set up so far, and with many other private sector businesses. So what we're going to do, Shane, we're going to have a media event where the media can come in and discuss with the private sector of Suriname and Barbados the areas of functional cooperation and delve in deeper to exactly what we are all trying to achieve in this partnership.
Well, definitely can't wait. Special Envoy Alfia Wiggins spending some time with me here on the Morning Report, talking about this recent trip. Well, it starts really today, and those business meetings get underway as well between today and the rest of the week. We can't wait to hear the outcome. Of course, we know that you'll keep us informed, and we look forward to seeing you very soon to continue these discussions.
Thank you very much, Shane.
Yes, appreciate your time, Alfia. Alfia Wiggins, Special Envoy to Guyana and Suriname, here with me live on the Morning Report. The big news this morning, as you would have heard yesterday during that big news conference, Barbados' dramatic spike in new COVID-19 cases is showing a jump in the recent daily average of about 180, from 250 to 432 positive cases in the latest dashboard. Health officials have reported the latest stat was recorded from 1,715 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory on Monday. The Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Anton Best, who provided insight into the development at a news conference last evening at CBC. Here's what he had to say.
We're here today because we noticed a dramatic increase in the total number of cases reported in today's dashboard for Monday. That represented a near 100% increase over the previous day, where we saw 222 new cases. In the last 8 days, we've diagnosed approximately 2,000 infections, and the reproductive number is 1.5, which simply means that one infected case can lead to 1.5 cases, or 2 persons who are infected can lead to 3. So it is growing. And when the R effective is 1.0, or rather when it is less than 1.0, it is when you have control of the outbreak and it cannot grow.
Now, despite this jump in cases, the Health and Wellness Minister Ian Gooden-Edgell says Barbados will not be reverting to more restrictive measures to curb the situation.
We are not going to reverse any of the measures that we have implemented because there is no need to, and therefore no curfew and no lockdowns are necessary. I take this opportunity to remind Barbadians that we are still in the COVID environment, and although infections will increase, there is no need for excessive concern. The core of our battle remains personal responsibility, which continues to be the key in maintaining control of the COVID situation and reducing the positivity rates.
The Health and Wellness Minister also revealed consideration is being given to finding a mechanism to deal with minor breaches of the directives.
Concerns have been raised about the continued use of prosecutions and the court system to deal with what some consider to be relatively minor breaches of the COVID directive. Other jurisdictions have been using ticketing systems as a quick and effective means of punishing individuals who break the rules. We will therefore discuss with the Attorney General how a ticketing system could be implemented in Barbados to deal with such things as the failure to wear masks in a public space and other similar breaches.
We'll take a break here, but coming up next on the morning report, further updates on the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine. In our COVID-19 updates this morning, a further case is being made for more Barbadians to get vaccinated against the virus. The Most Honorable Dr. Corey Ford, head of the isolation facilities and infectious disease specialist, says recent statistics show 80% of patients at the island's primary isolation area are unvaccinated. 80%. That's a huge number. Dr. Corey Ford was speaking last evening at the media conference which updated the country on the current surge in COVID cases.
So in our primary isolation area, which is the area we have the most sick people with ventilators, etc., that proportion there is very clear. So one sees at least out of the 10 individuals, there are only 2 individuals in there who are actually vaccinated. The others are all unvaccinated individuals. And that number might change because we had admissions today to that unit. But generally, that's what one generally sees. In our secondary isolation, where people are less ill or actually recovering or actually presented, the picture is a bit different. So we have almost a 50-50 percentage within that area. But I think it's critical to mention in that area that people actually get better and actually will often go back home to their families. And the point that you've made, I think, was a very intelligent statement at the start, which is to basically say, look, being vaccinated does not prevent you from getting COVID, but it actually helps you in terms of preventing you from ending up in the most sickest area of the facility, which is our primary isolation A. And I think that's what the average Barbadian needs to understand.
And still looking at vaccination, but a bit further afield, 1 year after Guyana's government began immunizing citizens against COVID-19, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, revealed that there is still a struggle to get people vaccinated there.
We have noticed a trend, a downward trend, where people are not coming to be vaccinated. So right now it's a big struggle to get people vaccinated. You're not going to be protected if you don't get vaccinated. So I just want to keep repeating that point. First dose adult right now, we have 438,399 doses administered. That's 85.5% of our adult population. Second dose is 337,197 doses. That's 65.7% of our adult population. In terms of 12 to 17, We have administered first dose 34,324 to this age cohort. That's 47.1% of the age cohort. Second dose, we are 25,037 doses. That's approximately 34.3% of this 12 to 17 age cohort. And booster doses, we're right now at 58,820.
Now to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's president has urged the UN Security Council to ensure its members adhere to the rules of international law or shut its doors, as he accused Russian troops of committing the most terrible war crimes since World War II. Let's take a look. Some of the images could be graphic.
Від Ради безпеки для миру в Україні.
We need decisions from the Security Council for peace in Ukraine. If you don't know how to implement this, you can do two things. Either remove Russia from the Council, so it cannot block decisions about its own war. The other option is to reform the Security Council to work for peace. If there isn't an alternative, then we should dissolve the Security Council altogether.
We need to cut out the malignant Nazi tumor that is consuming Ukraine and would in time begin to consume Russia. And we will achieve that goal, I hope sooner rather than later, because there is no other outcome. We are not shooting against civilian targets in order to save as many civilians as possible. This is precisely why we're not advancing as fast as many expected. We're not acting like Americans and their allies in Iraq and Syria. We're razing entire cities to the ground. They had no pity for them, but we felt great pity because these are people who are close to us.
We kick things off with Kristen Salumi joining us from the UN headquarters in New York. So as we can see from the clips, it was a highly charged meeting. Kristen, talk to us about what was achieved.
Well, this was the first time that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the Security Council, and he not only accused Russia of war crimes, but he challenged the international community to respond. He started off by giving a very grisly account of what he had seen in Bucha, where he visited after Russia's troop withdrawal. He talked about women being raped in front of their children. He talked about people in cars being run over by Russian tanks. And he called for bringing Russia in front of an international tribunal, kind of like what was set up after World War II in the Nuremberg trials that were held there, saying that the credibility of the United Nations is at stake, that Russia's veto power does not give them the power over life and death. Russia, of course, pushed back against these allegations, have denied targeting civilians. They've accused Ukraine of staging these videos. But they also looked to the UN and accused the UN of bias as well. So UN officials here, Secretary General among them, say that there is growing evidence of war crimes, and they too are calling for an independent investigation. So we heard that from a variety of UN officials, some accusations of war crimes on the part of Ukraine, but overwhelmingly accusations that Russia has been acting inappropriately and needs to be investigated independently. And they also talked a lot about the impact this war is having beyond Ukraine's borders. Not only is the humanitarian situation for Ukrainians increasingly dire, more than 1,100 civilians killed, over 100 of them children, a quarter of the population forced to flee their homes. But outside of Ukraine as well, the inflation, the impact it's having on prices worldwide, particularly for fuel and for food, is having a knock-on effect. And
Let's go over to Wendy now to hear how she's shaping up on this Wednesday for Mornin Barbados. Wendy, how are things looking on your side?
Well, Shane, we're going to be having our own little Water Wednesday over on this side, because we'll be talking things of the ocean. Yes, the Oistins Festival will be held again this Easter weekend coming up, so we'll be talking to Tony Torn about that. And we'll also be speaking with Philip Alls about his new rowing expedition, which he's looking to undertake this year. So those stories and more coming up after news, Shane.
Yeah, big things making a splash there on Morning Barbados. Right here on the Morning Report, we tell you what's happening in Spikestown. And of course, we have some sports coming your way as well. We'll be back in a moment. Spikestown is expected to be the place to be this week with hive of activity as a major event is being held there, which should provide significant business for the area. It's called the Sir Charles Williams International Fishing Tournament, and it will be the first to use the new jetty, which was officially opened last evening. Acting Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Kirk Humphrey, says the project, which cost just over $1 million, signals possibilities for greater access to Spikestown
via water taxis, and holds the potential to bring new life to the community with expanded opportunities for fisher folk, for restaurant and bars, retail shops and others, for those in leisure and commercial sailing and marine recreation. It will bring increased human traffic that will enhance the prospects for economic viability for this area. And I'm happy to hear you mention not only the large commercial spaces, Minister, but also the vendors who occupy this space, the persons who might be on the jet skis, the various different activities that occur in this space.
And Mr. Humphrey says the area serves as a hub for many things, including 20 restaurants, several bars, and a bus terminal with transit routes to the airport. He also says this makes it attractive for long and short stay visitors.
It is once one of our busiest sports. It has undergone a renaissance of sorts. It is genuinely a hub for the north and northwest of the island. And I think it is precisely because of its cultural heritage that you spoke so clearly to, its architectural and natural resources that must be integrated into the national tourism product. I think St. Peter and Spikestown offers something to the tourism product that no other parish or town could possibly offer, and we have to be able to maximize it.
There's been a rise in hand, foot, and mouth disease in infants across Barbados. Our Wendy Burke tells us of two of the island's pediatricians confirming this mild strain.
The incidence of hand, foot, and mouth disease is on the rise in young children in Barbados. Consultant pediatrician and neonatologist at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Gillian Birchwood, says many of them are contracting the highly contagious illness daily. She was a guest on the pediatric care segment of CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados.
So you see this rash, the child may have a fever, there may be a bit of runny nose or cough with it, and a child who has drooling and an offensive odor to the mouth and may not want to drink. So those are the most common initial signs. Depending on the strain of the hand, foot, and mouth, you may find that the symptoms may be quite mild and parents may not even notice it. But it's extremely contagious, and we are having quite the outbreak right now. Not a day goes by without parents calling about children with symptoms of hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Director of Medical Services at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Clyde Keith, has confirmed pediatricians' reports of several cases of hand, foot, and mouth over the last few weeks. However, he told CBC News the strain of the virus is not severe.
This appears to be a fairly mild variant of this disease, and is not causing severe illness. Its biggest problem really is trying to sort out if the fever that the child develops with or the state of being unwell is due to this, which is a common occurrence throughout the school year.
Let's get some sporting news now. More action from territorial boards is needed to help the West Indies with their current batting crisis. That's the view of the Vice President of Cricket West Indies, Dr. Kishore Shallow. In an exclusive interview with CBC Sports, Dr. Shallow said the issues with the batting failures in the senior men's teams is nothing new, and the women's as well, and must be tackled at an earlier stage.
It has been the case for a while now, and we have really not address it by putting systems in place. And when you talk about, past players, legends and so on, how they can play a role, they could play a role nationally, right? They could be in Barbados at the clubs, working with these young batsmen coming up. They could be in Jamaica, they could be in St. Vincent, they could be anywhere, right? And address these issues from a younger level. Because what we are seeing is that these players are reaching to international cricket with too many deficiencies, clear deficiencies, right? And it is not their fault because it's just the system. They come up in the system, and our cricket, they'll be performing at the regional level and so on. But when they reach the international level with analysts, data and video analysts and so on, it is a great challenge.
Dr. Shallow added that the players in the region have natural talent, which has to be fine-tuned.
It's not that they're not very talented, but it's just that they're vulnerable in certain places because they are going to have their weak areas and they're being exploited. And at the international level, unless you're experienced, you're going to, you're going to find it very difficult. So it's a steep learning curve, right? So I would say what we need to do is obviously have better infrastructure in place, better systems in place at the junior level, grassroots level, and the national level, and then by the time they reach sub-regional and regional, they'll be in a more intense and really, professional environment, well-oiled and playing competitive cricket so that the step to international cricket would not be that great.
And that's our look at sports this morning. Time now for weather. The temperature right now is 25.1 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy on the outside. We have been having some pretty heavy downpours, at least in the Pine. Across the country, you should expect some showers as well, some early morning showers, and later on this morning as well. The relative humidity is up to 79%. The barometric pressure is 1013.5 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east at 22 kilometers per hour. There will be a low tide this afternoon at 16 minutes after 1. A high tide will come our way at 26 minutes. That's 16 minutes, to 8 tonight. Those seas are smooth to moderate in open water. Swells are between 1 and 2 meters and holding steady. We have a mix of sunshine and clouds in Barbados, cloudy periods that is, with brief scattered light to moderate showers. So it's not a good day to wash your car, just let the rain fall and deal with that another day. Tonight you'll have a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And here's a quick look at the international weather forecast. And that's it for the Wednesday, April 6th edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at 7 with headline news. Up next is Wendy Burke with Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning,
And a pleasant good morning to you. Let's hope it's going to be a wonderful Wednesday for you today, despite those showers. Now, I'm Wendy Berg, bringing you Morning Barbados. This morning, we're going to be talking Oistins Fish. Well, it's no longer Fish Festival, but the Oistins Festival, which takes place from April 15th through 18th. Now, there wouldn't have been any last year, but it's returning. And to tell us exactly how it will be done this year is Tony Thorne, the chair of the Oistins Festival Committee. Good morning to you, Tony.
Good morning to you, Wendy. How are you?
I am great and happy to hear that this festival is on.
Yes, it is. And even though we took the name out of the actual title, it's fish and a whole lot more. So
Yes.
definitely fish is still in there.
Okay, now we are going to be in the usual time, the Easter weekend. What's the theme this year and what are we going to be doing differently?
Okay, so the last time we would have had the festival would have been in 2019. And a lot has happened since then. We've been in a pandemic. We've lost about 3 of our committee members to COVID and other related issues. Businesses have lost money. We have persons that do stalls that send to school the children and are able to subsist their households basically by doing stalls. So there's some people that do stalls for Oistins and then they would move on to AgriFest and then crop over. So those persons have lost money. So we had meetings a couple months ago with key stakeholders and we wanted to still have a presence. We want Oistins Festival to be synonymous with Easter. But let's be real, we are still very much in the pandemic. I'm hearing about a new COVID variant. So obviously we had to get the buy-in from the COVID monitoring unit. So we are going to be having a festival under the theme of Simply Oistins. It's a toned down, more simplified version of the festival. We will still have all of the exciting events, but they will have a twist simply because of COVID. So for example, the grease pole, whereas you would have had a whole set of people going at one time, this time it is the fastest time to the top that will win. And we still have a lot of our really exciting events, DJ Ras and a whole set of others in the celebrity cook-off. So honestly, I am really excited about it and looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to things like the dolphin skinning because it's amazing, how these men can strip that amount of poundage down in the time frame that they do and with the skill they do it. And I am not sure if you've realized, Tony, but the skill is being passed on from generation to generation. We are seeing the grandsons and granddaughters of those who would have been vendors in the market for many years actually taking over.
Yeah. It's important. And I think the Oistins community, there isn't another community like that in Barbados. And it's important that we have the festival because it's not just, it is the largest community festival in Barbados. So, our committee is not paid. We do it out of the kindness of our hearts. But we know that it puts money back into the community in various ways. So yes, there's a lot of heritage there. We usually would have had our heritage walks, but we won't be having that. But we will be having things like our mobile cinema. As I said, the celebrity cook-off. We're having the Easter Bonnet Parade. NCF is doing a cultural zone. We have a whole set of things planned. You can just follow on our social media. The Facebook page and the Instagram and come on and have a really good time. All of the events are free. Yes, we have the grease pole, the dolphin skinning, the net throwing competition, but we have a lot of our newer things thanks to the U.S. Embassy. Yes, we have the mobile cinema, so bring out all the kids, bring out the blind kids. We have the celebrity cook-off in the Bay Garden. We have the police band concert and storytelling in Bay Garden. So we have a lot going on and we just want to be safe. We have our stall owners that will be presenting a lot of great stuff and products, and we look forward to it.
Because that was going to be my next question to you in terms of getting that vendor participation back. How has it been? Did they run with open arms, happy to know that they're going to be back at Oistins? Because like, for example, plants. I have friends who go to Oistins just to get plants, to be able to get their pick of the fish on the day, things like that.
Yeah, wonderful question. Thanks for that. During the pandemic, we've had a lot of questions about, y'all can do Oistins. especially when crop over was kind of soft launched and it was announced that we'll have a crop over. A lot of our vendors were asking us, and that really played a big decision in us having the festival. Just alone last Sunday, we had 80 vendors turn up, and we've kept our registration price. Everything has gone up. I heard you talk. I heard Shane in the morning report talking about Ukraine. Everything has gone up, but we've made a concerted effort to keep the price of the stalls the same as pre-pandemic, which was $350 for the entire weekend. We had 80 people turn up. And after that, and we just had a 2-hour window because our team is small. So collecting all that money with a small team can be tedious. And we have another sign up on this Sunday at Granny's, and I believe that we will definitely be oversubscribed.
Okay, it sounds that way to me because we know the area, you can spread them out quite nicely, so they will be in keeping with the COVID protocols. And I'm happy to see that you have divided up into a number of zones in terms of where the actual activities are going to be held. So we should have no worries there. Now, in terms of the fisher folk, what has their reaction been to the return of this festival?
Look, I think everybody's happy about the return to the festival. I cannot tell you what people do with the prize money. You know, if you could get money, if you could get $1,500 for winning the dolphin skinning competition, for me, $1,500 is a lot of money. I don't know about you, Wendy, but that can go a long way. So that's $1,500. In some cases, there are competitions that people get. There are other competitions where, like the degree polls, a man could do with $500. You know, we have the fish cake eating competition, which is not much, but it's $200 just to eat a fish cake. You know, this year we are doing the kids get cash prizes. So I think everybody all around, not just the fisher folk, but people, yes, it's important to discuss the fisher folk, but people that come to the festival for various reasons, they are all very happy.
Now, is there anything these individuals who are planning to attend the festival need to know about in terms of the hours of operation, the protocols they're expected to follow, etc.?
All COVID protocols apply. Please, we want to have fun, but we still want to be safe. Whether you're doing the egg and spoon race, there's a price for that as well. We have clearly defined lines. We went out 2 weeks ago, and when I say we, our team went out and we marked the spot. So we're going to try really and to have bigger spaces in between the stalls and wear your masks. You know, we will have regular bathrooms slots, more bathroom slots that are available. We'll try to encourage people to sanitize, and we are really adhering to them. So please bring all of your senses when it comes to the COVID protocols to the event, because we really don't want it said that we've been reckless in any way, because, you know, I think we are the first festival out of the gate following the pandemic, and we really want to do it with integrity.
Okay, now the other thing we need to bring as well is our strength. How am I or anybody else we know become eligible for this boat pull competition? Because I'm wondering, if we are pulling a Moses, what are we pulling?
Well, the last one was a Moses. We wanted to be fair to person. And as I said, you can check out our pages for information on all of them. Just come when we come down. Look, if you look at the boat and you say, listen, that's a little too rough for me, that's a little too heavy, I am sure that you could put an egg in a spoon and you could race. You know, and you could win a couple $100 for the egg and spoon race. And if you're not a competitive type, you might enjoy the cook-off. Or if you have children or you have a nice little boyfriend or a husband and you want to have a sweet nothing Monday, Thursday, come out to the mobile cinema. There's a nice movie going on, Cruella, and bring the family and come and sit down. So there's something for everyone. And if I don't have that strength for trying to work on my abs, or else I would have done the grease pull. But there's something for everybody to be a part of, regardless of age and whether or not they have muscles or not.
Well, that is awesome to know, because the south of the island is going to be alive and well again. We know Oistins Friday night is hot, But once now we add the entire festival to that mix, it means it's going to be even better. Tony, it's simply Oistins.
I have
Yes.
a little secret for you. And we talk about Oystins Festival, but you never know. We might have a little food, wine, and rum, or food and rum. Another kind of festival involved this year as well. So
Oh,
stay
that
tuned
would
for that.
be awesome to know. Yes, because when Samuels was up there, he was so well received. So if we can get some of our other Bajan chefs who are also just as wonderful when it comes to local cuisine, then that's gonna definitely be a plus. So we will be seeing you and your committee from the 15th to the 18th for Oistins Festival, Simply Oistins. Thank you for joining us this morning, Tony, and here's hoping that we have a safe Oistins Festival.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. That's Tony Torn, chair of the Oistins Festival Committee. You can find them on Instagram at Oistins Festival to check out all that they have to offer. When Morning Barbados returns, we'll be getting into the water with Phil Alves and hear all about his latest expedition that he'll be going on.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And welcome back. We're going to be talking about the Northwest Passage Ocean Row Expedition 2022. Quite a mouthful, but Phil Alves will break it down for us. Good morning to you, Philip.
Good morning, Wendy. How are you today?
I am great today. Now, as you know, Phil, you are currently trying to raise some £50,000 to join this Northwest Passage Ocean Row expedition. What is it all about? We know of you from before in terms of setting your Guinness record for rowing the Atlantic, but what is this race now all about?
Yes, well, it's a general expedition, and we are represented Blue Ocean Cleanup with all the plastics and global warming. And it's a team from the UK and Scotland, which I'm currently part of. I've been doing some training late last year and stuff, and I've been from Newcastle on Tyne, and I rode all the way up to Orkney. That was a part of the regular training to meet the other team members, and to gel together as a group. And then we have some cold water training and other training coming up around the beginning of May. That is on schedule. But currently I'm training here in Barbados, locally on the West Coast, which I'm doing from along the west all the way down maybe Port St. Charles and back, which the boat that was a loaner to me. And also it was all decked out and dressed up by the BTMI there. So that's what I'm currently involved in there.
Okay, now this passage is going to be the first attempt to row it. and it is referred to as one of the notorious one because of the amount of ice and water along that trek. Now, that's something that ordinarily you would not be in unless you decide you're going to be traveling in the cold months. How are you gearing up for it? Are you mentally and physically prepared for those kinds of temperatures?
Well, as I said, we just came off with some training up in Scotland and stuff in the North Sea. The temperatures is another story because I'm now trying to get my kit, which is the special clothing that I have to wear when I traverse and when I go into the Northwest Passage. So that's one of my main focuses on. Mentally, I'm as prepared as I can, but you know, you never can be as prepared as you should unless you get into the environment. And so it's all a mental thing. But physically, stuff, I'm ready, pretty much. There's always room for improvement because I'm going totally out of my element, which everybody know Barbados is a tropical place with all our lovely beaches and stuff. But to go into minus 40-degree temperatures, it's going to be a challenge. So you have to really be your brother's keeper. We look out for each other, and that's the plan going forward.
Now, how do you see this race compared to the 2003 one, which you placed third in, the Woodville Atlantic Rowing Challenge? How do the two, apart from the temperature, how do the two differ in terms of distance, in terms of the waters, that type of thing?
Well, running across the Atlantic, which is the one I did with Randall Valdez and myself back in 2003, it's warm weather and, well, very hot. And this one is the opposite. This is in sub-zero temperatures. It's not a race, it's an expedition, pretty much. It's something, the Northwest Passage is an area that have not been traversed before, and we are going to be doing it in a rowboat with 8 team members on board. And it's about 2,500 to 3,000 miles based on the ice factor. If the ice have been melted, or if the ice depends on how the ice factor there with the melt, because if the window of opportunity is only about maybe 2 months and we have to make it within that time period. If not, you can get frozen and stuck up there, and it's very hard for someone to rescue you. So we're looking at all the avenues. We have all our mapping, all our weather programs and everything. Leland Brown, who is the expedition leader, he is looking after all of that, and the other team members, Phil Kite and those guys in Scotland. So we are really paying attention to the adverse conditions. And the clothing is very important. And then we have to be very cognizant of the wildlife up there, which is like the polar bears and stuff. I was told that being a bit of research that our boat speed could be 4 to 5 knots, but the polar bears swim at 6 to 7 knots. So, you know, that is a very important thing, and they don't take any prisoners.
So those arms have to be fit and ready for all 8 of you. Now, people will want to know, how did a Bajan get here? Why would a Barbadian want to be in an expedition, apart from your love for the sea? But why would you be in an expedition to row in ice?
Well, my whole thing, when Levin invited me to join the team, I always wanted to do something in a colder climate, because after I rowed back in 2003, I wanted to go and do the North Ice Challenge, which is you have to do a hike across 400 miles of ice and put a sled behind you with all your supplies. And then, you know, I got a family and everything, took the step, and I was talked out of that. But now this expedition presented itself, and I said, well, there you go. I'm retired now, and something to do, and, you know, to put Barbados on the map in doing something that's totally different in this environment, and then to motivate younger persons to see that you can go out there and you could do something that is not really conducive to Barbados because of the warm temperature and climate. And I took the challenge, so I accepted, and hence here I am.
But you said you are retired, and this is a lot for a body to be taking on. I mean, age is just a number, we all know. But I mean, what is your true drive? Is it just that you like to be able to conquer challenges you set yourself?
Yes, I always like to be challenged in some way or the other, and it's a driving force that's within me. I don't know where I got it from. Maybe my great grandparents or something, but I always like to go a little bit outside of my boundaries and achieving. I always put myself to achieve. I'm an achiever, and I like to go forward, and I like things that to conquer. When I put myself in a mode to do something and to explore and to go into this frame of mind, I always excel. So this one is one of the biggest ones that I will be doing, because the Northwest Passage haven't been done before. It's a whole new gate. We say it's the world's greatest last first, because it haven't been conquered, and for a team of 16 persons to be rowing a rowboat through this passage and stuff, this really puts you into a different mindset. All the team members have to look out. It's like a buddy system, so each guy will be looking out for each other. It's like, it's a whole big brotherhood there on the boat, and our whole survival and everything makes it possible there. We have doctors on board, we have explorers on board, we have people with military backgrounds on board, and we all gel together as a team. So, you have to know how to relate to each other. There's no animosity, no angriness, nothing of that sort that goes on with the team. If someone have a little grouse with you, you never know it, because he wouldn't tell you, but he would always focus, because everybody have to pull their weight.
Okay, now you're raising some funds. What is next in terms of that drive? Where can individuals donate if they want to? How do they reach out to you?
Okay, first I'd like to thank the sponsors that took the initiative to be part of this, like the Barbados Olympic Association, Courtesy Garage, RBC Bank, BTMI, ESCO, Corporate, Travel Chase Brokers, and overseas company that took the initiative to be part of it, MSG Global. I'd really like to thank those guys for taking the initiative and stepping forward to get me to this leg. But there's still more, because it's a great cost of £50,000. I'm partway there. I'm still trying to raise funding. I have a GoFundMe page. Anyone could go into GoFundMe and just type in Philip Alves, and they can donate to the page to assist there, or give me a call, 262-7009. Currently, I'm winding down because all my funding haven't been paid in as yet. I know the clothing aspect for the cold weather gear, and then all the flights and stuff that you have to encounter from here to London, then from London back, you have to get up to Alaska and stuff. So there's still a lot of costs going on there. I know that it's been rough because of COVID, and I wasn't able to do any local fundraisers and stuff to generate any funding. So that hence kind of set me back there. But, I have a team now trying to create some awareness in the UK and Scotland there. Annette and a team of folks there that chipped in. I had a previous person there, Monica. She was also assisting and trying to find me some sponsors, and trying to keep the whole project going. And this is like the third year now, but it's a long road there. It's a very long and tough road. I thought just getting ready and rowing would have been the toughest part, but getting to the start line is very hectic. So I'm hoping everybody, all Barbadians, come out and support the effort.
Now, when is the actual race to take place? When do you actually get on the water once everything is successful in raising these funds? When do you actually get into the water and get going on this expedition?
Okay, the expedition is due to start, well, pretty much it's ongoing now. We're trying to get the boats finished and shipped out to Alaska. When I say finished, the boats are building already, but they're being outfitted with all the navigational equipment, all the electronics and stuff is being fine-tuned and stuff. And then they would work out getting it. They all have something in place to get them shipped over. I'm trying to get all my cold weather gear. That's what the main cost now. And then you have to get your gear packed on the boat before they leave. So that's supposed to happen by the beginning of May, which is just a couple of weeks away from now.
Okay. Well,
so
here's wishing you the best, Philip. Here's hoping you and your team do have a successful expedition, because there's nothing that will make us prouder as Barbadians than being able to see you in the Guinness Book of World Records again. Now, has Randall at any point been helping you with your training?
Not really per se. The training, he's busy, you know how things are now, trying to, you got to pay your bills and all that. This is a big dive for me, because a sacrifice from your family and your personal budget that I've injected into this project. Randall really, he gives me moral support and, some ideas and stuff. He was also invited to join the team, but Randall said he doesn't like cold weather, so I have to carry the flag for both of us. So I don't know how I really got involved with this cold, but it's okay. As long as you have the right clothing, everything will be okay. And you just have to depend on your inner strengths there and the Almighty. That's very important.
Your family support must be big as well, in terms of, wanting to see my dad, my husband, my brother out there doing this, not just for himself, but, to put Barbados on the map. What's that been like?
Yeah, well, my daughter that lives in the UK, my eldest daughter, and my son also, he lives in the USA. They have been very supportive, and at home, the wife and kids have been very supportive. All my friends, I'll also say a special thanks to my friend Wayne Cummins that owns the water sports at Colony Club, and Jeff that lent me the boat there, Jeff Ward. All these guys being very, very supportive. I mean, not monetary, but assistance in getting the boat, storing the boat at their location, being able to use their facilities, and pointers as much as they know about rowing and stuff. Any little insight, they've been talking to me and stuff. It takes a lot, and you have to keep your mind off the task at hand. You just have to go forward and give it your best shot.
Well, even this weekend, even though you might not be in the activity of itself, but you've also been giving some assistance in Spikestown. We're going to be having that game fishing going on. I saw you yesterday, I believe, as part of that.
But I used to do competitive fishing also. I have a lot of hobbies that I did. Yes, I have some friends in from Grenada, one of the boats, and my local buddy, Roy Thompson from A&T Marine. All these guys supported and assisted me in some way or the other. The annual General Barbados Game Fishing Association event it started this morning, actually. I think Lions End will be at 6:30 this morning from the Spikestown, the new jetty, wonderful jetty that they built down there. And I think that would give the North some more incentives, some more activities of life. And we need to maintain and keep all of these projects going across the island there.
No, your love for water not only spans the rowing, but you were also into surfing, windsurfing, the whole lot of it. Where do you get that from? I mean, most people live on this island, but either don't know how to swim or don't like the water necessarily. But you have taken it on in all aspects. Where did that come from, you think?
Well, as a young person growing up in the Bayland area, everybody wasn't good at cricket, like the great Sagari is a couple of streets from me. Mike Young, those guys were also into water sports. I wasn't any good at football, so I just took up the beach, and I just learned with Lorenzo Best to swim with the program there from school. And I used to go fishing off the Brown Spear, and then go swimming and playing water polo by the Holiday Inn Pier. And diving. I used to swim all the way from Bay Street to Accra Beach and back, spearfishing and all of that stuff. And then the windsurfing came up back in 1983. I was fortunate to be the coach to go to the Olympics in 2000 when Oba won the bronze. I was part of the Barbados team there. So going forward, all water. I raced and sailed pretty much all over Europe, Italy, Spain, all through the US.
It's in your blood now.
Yeah. So as I say, you know when they say when a guy drinks a lot of alcohol and you cut him, and then he would bleed alcohol instead of blood. Or if you cut me, you'll find salt water run up my veins.
I believe we would, Phil. I honestly believe we would. Well, Philip, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Remember, Philip has a GoFundMe page, so you can help him in raising these additional pounds he needs for that Northwest Passage expedition. All the best of luck to you. Here's hoping everything goes well. It was a pleasure having you on Morning Barbados.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank Barbados in advance. And I know you'll go there and support me. And, you know, I keep flying the flag. As you can see, I have it here on my shirt.
That you do.
Barbados it is. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone.
You have a blessed day as well. That was Philip Alves of the Northwest Passage Expedition. Let's wish him well as he proceeds toward May. Well, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have Shane Seeley with the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hello, I'm Shane Seeley with your headline news for this April 6th. It is Wednesday, and Barbados is watching that dramatic spike in new COVID-19 cases, showing a jump in the recent daily average of about 180 from 250 to 432 positive cases in the latest dashboard. Looking at those numbers, health officials have reported the latest statistic was recorded from 1,715 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab on Monday. The Deputy Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Anton Best, provided insight into this development at a news conference last evening right here at CBC.
We're here today because we noticed a dramatic increase in the total number of cases reported in today's dashboard for Monday. That represented a near 100% increase over the previous day, where we saw 222 new cases. In the last 8 days, we've diagnosed approximately 2,000 infections, and the reproductive number is 1.5, which simply means that one infected case can lead to 1.5 cases, or 2 persons who are infected can lead to 3. So it is growing. And when the R effective is 1.0, or rather when it is less than 1.0, it is when you have control of the outbreak and it cannot grow.
Now, despite this jump in cases, the Health and Wellness Minister, Ian Goodin-Edgell, says Barbados will not be reverting to more restrictive measures to curb the situation.
We are not going to reverse any of the measures that we have implemented because there is no need to, and therefore no curfew and no lockdowns are necessary. I take this opportunity to remind Barbadians that we are still in the COVID environment, and although infections will increase, there is no need for excessive concern. The core of our battle remains personal responsibility, which continues to be the key in maintaining control of the COVID situation and reducing the positivity rates.
Meanwhile, a further case has been made for more Barbadians to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The Most Honorable Dr. Corey Ford, the head of the isolation facilities here in Barbados and an infectious disease specialist, says recent statistics show 80% of patients at the island's primary isolation area are unvaccinated. Dr. Ford was also speaking at last evening's press conference.
So in our primary isolation area, which is the area we have the most sick people with ventilators, etc., that proportion there is very clear. So one sees at least out of the 10 individuals, there are only 2 individuals in there who are actually vaccinated. The others are all unvaccinated individuals. And that number might change because we had admissions today to that unit. But generally, that's one generally sees. In our secondary isolation, where people are less ill or actually recovering or actually presented, the picture is a bit different. So we have almost a 50-50 percentage within that area. But I think it's critical to mention in that area that people actually get better and actually will often go back home to their families. And the point that you've made, I think, was a very intelligent statement at the start, which is to basically say, look, being vaccinated does not prevent you from getting COVID, but it actually helps you in terms of preventing you from ending up in the most sickest area of the facility, which is our primary isolation A. And I think that's what the average Barbadian needs to understand.
In other news, we hear that Barbados is moving to refresh its bilateral relationship with Suriname. As such, the island is welcoming a Surinamese delegation of about 24 government and business officials today to start discussions on an updated Broco-Pondo agreement. News of this from the Prime Minister's Special Envoy to Guyana and Suriname, Alfie Wiggins.
What we are seeking to do would be to refresh, update the Broco-Pondo arrangement, because post-COVID now, I can't even say post-COVID, but we're looking to put new arrangements in place between the two countries. The ministerial delegation will be led by the Foreign Minister, His Excellency Mr. Albert Ramdin, and we will be looking to roll out a new Broco-Pondo arrangement between the two countries in many different functional areas.
And those talks will focus on a number of key sectors, including agriculture and food security, along with tourism and international transport. The Special Envoy reveals that several joint business-to-business initiatives as well have been set up for the private sector. And that's your headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. We'll take a break here and then go back to more with Wendy Burke on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning again. If you're now joining us, you've joined us in good time because it's time for Doc Talk. This morning we're going to be joined by Dr. John Barker, the consultant obstetrician and gynecologist here on Morning Barbados. Good morning to you, Dr. Barker.
Morning, how are you?
I am well, and how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, then.
Can't complain.
Well, that's great because, you know, sometimes nobody hears.
Oh, that is true too.
Right, so just keep doing what we need to do best. Now, this morning, our subject is Yoni pearls. Now, for those who may not know what a Yoni pearl is, could you give them a description and explanation of what it is and what it does for a female?
Right. My first interaction with a Yoni pearl was when a patient asked me if they were safe. And it actually knocked me for six because I didn't know what they were talking about. So, but essentially what it is a collection of herbs and like a netted like material, which some women put in their private parts. Now, there are a lot of purported benefits in relation to detoxifying the vagina and stuff. However, in reality, it does the complete opposite. There are no studies in terms of if you're going to institute a management. The way how we look at it is in relation to the levels of evidence that one would have, and the best type of evidence is if you have like a randomized trial whereby you don't know which group um, one group will have what you call a placebo, which is like a sugar pill or something like that that doesn't do anything, and then the other group will be the one that is has the medication in it. But there are no trials to say that the pearls are actually of any benefit. So that's the thing. So essentially, it's like with the herbs that you put inside, there's not evidence to say that it is indeed beneficial. And actually, since it's a foreign body in the actual vagina, sometimes it can actually increase your risk of infections like bacterial vaginosis and yeast. So as a result, what I would advise women to do would be not to put it in. I mean, at the end of the day, you can talk and tell people not to do something and still go home and do it. But usually what I do is advise people not to do it. There would be a small proportion of people who would say that, yes, it has benefited them. But then the question would be, had it really benefited them or if it was a placebo effect?
Now, that's interesting to note because they're becoming more and more popular. When they first came to the market, they costed more, but now, you know, they can be had for a lower rate. And they are popular for a number of women because some women, rather than go on antibiotics for, say, a yeast infection, will opt to use the 3-day Yoni Pearl. You know, but you're saying to us now it may not be advisable.
Right. So if somebody comes to the office with a discharge, what we have to determine is if it's a physiological discharge, which means that usually the discharge doesn't have a smell, there's no itching, and it's very like thin or what we call homogeneous. Right. So those are the hallmarks of a physiological discharge. And usually the way how I do it is take a swab. Seeing is believing, and the sample is the issue. So we gotta make sure that there's nothing growing. So usually I would take a swab because sometimes you can think something is X, but then it can be X, but then it can be as in Y as well too. So you take a swab, make sure that everything is fine. Now, if you have a pathological discharge, which would be like yeast or like BV, or sometimes you can get a discharge due to like trichomonas vaginalis, which is a sexually transmitted disease. So you get like a fishy odor and stuff. So BV and trichomonas essentially present the same way. So you take a swab, but they're treated the same way. So if you go and put in something that cannot treat this bacteria, then the infection would get worse. So what I would advise is that anybody who has any symptoms like itching or anything but anything looking like a yellowy, greenish like discharge. Because sometimes you can get a greenish, yellowish discharge with gonorrhea as well too. So you're not exactly sure what you're treating by putting the unipearls in, because at the end of the day, if you have any gonorrhea or anything like that, you put in something that you think can work, but actually once you let that infection go rampant, sometimes it can
cause more
affect the
damage than
fertility as
good.
well.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
the thing, now we're talking about affecting fertility and the insertion of the actual pearl. If it goes past the cervix, or the individual, for lack of a better word, loses it there and doesn't seem to be able to get that attached string back out, because it's not exactly like a tampon, but it's the same process generally in terms of insertion. Should that get lost, what harm are you coming to? What harm can be caused to a woman's body?
Right. So essentially, the cervix is essentially closed. So it's very difficult to get anything up through the cervix in a normal person. But if you actually leave a foreign body in the vagina, so what happens is that the bacteria and stuff would actually colonize the foreign body. Worst case scenario, sometimes, like if you leave a tampon in and forget it, and you get your period and stuff, you get what you call you get very bad infections. Sometimes you can get toxins being formed, which is these toxins from the bacteria, and sometimes you can actually go into septic shock. But if you leave any foreign body in the vagina, it is a focus for infection, and sometimes you can get very ill. I mean, it doesn't happen too regular. I think in 20 years I only saw about one or two, but you can get very sick. You can get very sick by leaving stuff in the vagina.
Okay, now in the same vein, these said herbs that are found in the yoni pearls are also done loosely in what they're now doing as vaginal steams. Is that also just as dangerous?
Right. No. What I would say is that there's no evidence to say that vaginal steaming is of any significance, and there are no studies to say that it is beneficial either way. I know, like in some cultures, say the African or Asian cultures, there is something called vaginal steaming, sorry. But in terms of the steam getting up in the vagina, the way how the vagina is anatomically structured is like an S. So it's very hard for anything to actually get up into the vagina. And then sometimes, depending on how hot the steam is, sometimes it can actually cause injury to the genitalia by the actual hot steam. But there's no real, in terms of evidence, to say that vaginal steaming is of any benefit. I mean, at the end of the day, it could be a treatment that has gone through the ages, and some people would associate it with benefits. But then, if you look at it scientifically, the evidence says that it isn't. But it's me saying that doesn't mean that somebody will not try it to see if it works. I mean, for them, it might work for them, but in the grand scheme of, in terms of numbers and number crunching, no.
Okay. Now, I know that this news is now going to be not so well received by a number of young women, because it's now a popular thing. There are spas that offer it to you, so it's like we've invested in all this equipment and we're looking to save up and treat ourselves to our birthday or whatever by trying this new thing. And now the doctor is saying it really isn't beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have your alternative treatments. Even if a patient comes to you and talk about particular herbs and stuff, we cannot actually advocate the using of the herb because it hasn't been scientifically tested and stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're in a difficult spot because you don't use the herbs, one, as a professional, two, is not validated, but yet still the patient is asking you if they can use it. So if you say no, they might say, well, your doctor talking rubbish, which some people might do. But then at the end of the day, I can't go and put my head on the block and say, well, you can use it when I don't even use it myself or prescribe it for anybody. So I don't see how I can say, well, I'll put my head on the block and say, well, take it, because at the end of the day, even if you take it without medical advice, the repercussions is solely on your shoulders. So what I'm saying is that you can do it if you want, in terms of the steaming and stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to know that there's no evidence behind it. And what I usually do is you try to educate the patients as to what to take and stuff. At the end of the day, it's only my opinion. So, but my opinion would say, well, at the end of the day, I advise you not to, and these are the reasons. Some patient might think otherwise and do what they want to do, but my job is done, because my job is just to advise patients to say, well, this is beneficial, this isn't beneficial, there's little evidence here, there's no evidence here. So at the end of the day, you make an informed decision as to what you want to do.
Okay, well, at least we know, as a good doctor that you are, even if they disobey the advice, you're still there when they come back to ensure that the necessary treatment is prescribed.
In full.
Yes, I want to thank you, Dr. Barker, for joining me this morning for us to talk about Yoni pearls. It's trending, as we would say, but he has just told us there's little to no evidence, little to no scientific evidence that it actually does work.
Right, and sorry to cross you, right, and you can, I mean, like some stuff you can go on Google and Google it in relation to if there's any evidence, and they clearly state that there's none. If you go in the journals, there's not, if any evidence that it has been thing. Yeah.
All right, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, Dr. Barker. Doctor on the line, Dr. John Barker, consultant obstetrician and gynecologist. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll tell you all about a fashion tour.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And welcome back. We're going to be talking about the International Beautiful You Fashion Tour. And to tell us what this tour is all about is Mr. Mr. Debonair Williams. He's the director of the International Beautiful You Fashion Tour, Inc. Good morning to you, Dwayne.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm great. And you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Now, you are in Barbados. You're an event planner with over 20 years experience with a passion for entertaining and helping others out. So tell me why you're here at the Hilton for or rather coming back to the Hilton for this particular event. What is it all about?
So basically, the International Beautiful You Fashion Tour is a fun and exciting fashion experience that I started. I've been producing for 20 years, but I started this program in 2014. And the message behind it is to promote body positivity, self-love, confidence. And basically, we do these shows in a lot of different markets and countries across the world. And we take models of all shapes and sizes because I believe that God created everyone to be beautiful. So that's the message behind, essentially the message behind the program.
Okay, because we have a lot going on now, not only with our women, but with males as well. And we're hearing all of these new terms like body dysmorphia and, you know, all of these things. Because before it was just like anorexia that we heard about with some models going overboard because you wanted to be this big. But now there's a lot more going on. And, you know, people are in some ways ashamed of how they look, even though when we look upon them, they're actually very physically pleasing. So how does your program help individuals out to understand that they too can be a part of fashion and all that it has to offer?
Well, a lot of programs, the traditional programs, they have like a traditional mindset as far as like the models that they use in their program. But with the International Beautiful You Fashion Tour, we want it to be a welcoming environment for all. So we take all sizes and all experience levels.
So that means age is not an issue then either.
No, we take ages 3 to 100. If you're 100 years old and you can walk on the railway, you can come on and be a part of this exciting event.
Okay, so now you were here before. And you gave the local designers an all-expense-paid trip to showcase their fashion during New York Fashion Week. Caramel Weir was the designer who won. So how is it going to be this time for our designers to get a chance to be showcased?
Well, we have I have a lot of shows going on in a lot of different countries outside of New York City. I can't give up the secret yet, but we may give a trip to London or one of our exotic places. But we have a host of local designers as well as designers coming in from other countries to showcase at this event on June 19th.
Okay, now you don't want to give away too much, but we still want to hear a little bit more. What are some of the areas of fashion that we can possibly be looking at? Will it just be resort wear, given that, you know, we're in the Caribbean region? What can we expect on the runway?
Well, it's going to be a very eclectic mix of fashion. We do take resort wear, couture wear, evening wear, a little bit of everything. We also have apparel designers. So it's a very eclectic and open, just like we are open with the models, we're very open with the styles of clothing that we have on our runway.
So was it difficult to get buy-in from our local market? Who are some of the people you're working through here?
Well, here I was, like you mentioned, Ms. Caramel Wells is one of my main designers here in Barbados. She showcased last time. Also, we have a young designer by the name of Revelia. He'll be showcasing. And we also have a host of other local designers coming in.
Okay, so it's going to be something to look forward to.
Yes, ma'am. You definitely want to be there.
Now, also individuals with disabilities, you cater to them on your runway as well. That part interests me a lot because people assume that because, you know, you might have some physical disability or you might be sightless or anything of that nature, that you can't walk the catwalk.
Yes.
So how have you pulled them in? How do you go about sourcing these individuals to come on board with you?
Well, I promote pretty heavy on social media, and a lot of the participants that participate in my event is from word of mouth, you know, and I keep coming back to a lot of the same markets. And basically, I would say the number one thing is just the word of mouth about the event. It spreads pretty quickly.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So how many models are we possibly looking at versus how many designers for the actual show?
For the show, we'll probably have about 10 to 12 designers and about 75 models.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's about what we had last time, too, as well.
Okay, and how many hours is the show going to be?
Once we start the show at 3 p.m., it'll last about 2 hours.
Okay, so
2 hours
we
of
are.
excitement.
And your organization is actually non-profit, so you do a lot of promotion of the body positivity. Where can we catch you to be able to see some of that messaging that you promote?
Okay, so my website is Beautiful Mode. That's beautifulmode.com. And also my direct contact on WhatsApp is +1 254 317 5440.
Okay, so we can find Dwayne, Mr. Debonair there
Yes.
to tell us all about what is going on. So June 19th is the date we're looking forward to be part of it. Do you have all your models selected already, or is there still time for some of us to get in on the action?
There's still time for someone to get in. We're actually meeting with all of the models this Saturday. So if they are willing to contact me today, we can get them in the event. And like I said, it's for all ages, all shapes and sizes, everything, special needs and disabilities.
Okay, we are happy to hear that because inclusiveness is the message that we're pushing this year. So, Dwayne, Mr. Debonair Williams, I want to thank you for joining us, and here's hoping to see you in June for that show.
Yes, ma'am. June 19th at the Hilton Barbados Resort.
Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. That was Mr. Debonair, the director of International Beautiful You Fashion Tour, Inc. It's always great to know that all of us have our place out here in society and we're being included. We'll be back after the break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Skung Alen, also known as Skung Alen. We know him as one of Barbados' baddest guitarists, but he has recently released his album Anthology. It's a collection of calypsos and soca songs. He's here to tell us all about them this morning. Good morning to you, Ian.
Good morning, Mandy. How are you doing?
I'm great this morning. What about you?
I'm good.
All righty. Now let's get straight to it. Anthology. We know you would have participated in the calypso competitions, etc., but you have now brought out an album available on iTunes as well as the other social media music platforms. Why now?
Well, I just thought it would be time to put all the songs in one place. I had been putting out songs for quite a few years now, and since being in the competition in 2019, where I placed fourth in the Soca Monarch competition, I thought I'd put them all together so people can see that it's actually me, because I've been getting that a lot. That was you, and people didn't know the songs were me still.
Because they're not
a good way of getting recognized.
Because they're not accustomed to you behind the mic like that. We're accustomed to you with that guitar in hand and performing a different genre in song, but now as Skung Young. Now, the name. Let's just try to unpack that quickly. What is Skung Young all about?
Well, I got that name when I was about 4 or 5 years old, believe it or not. I used to live in an area where there were some old cars, and I would go down to this particular black one and go and try to start it. one of the older guys gave me that name, so it stuck.
And you decided to use it now. Now walk me through the anthology. What are some of the areas we deal with in soca? Because it's a melodic rhythm, but we can also send lots of messages with it. What are some of the things you address?
There's so many things. It starts from the first song that I produced, which is a song called Rasta Jam, where this guy came in a party, and with a friend. And I know you girls do this a lot. You come in a party and you see like a friend. I'm your friend. You tell Ian, stay with me. I want a man come and walk up with me, kind of thing. So it's that kind
you know us well.
I know.
You
right?
know us well.
So that was the first song I produced in soca, actually, 1988 or so. So that's on there. And then I touched several different topics. A lot of it is romantic, though. I'm kind of a romantic kind of guy, So I touched quite a few things. There's also a cover of an Eddie Grant song on there. Say I Love You is on there. So yeah, I touch many things.
Okay, and it's
Barbados is on there too, by the way.
Okay, because I was going to ask, what about, because I know you do have a love for your homeland, so I was going to ask about that if you've not addressed the island as well. Now, getting this anthology, where do we go? How do we go about purchasing these songs?
Well, it's available on 80 site, and all the popular ones like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Deezer. Yeah, you can get it anywhere really. So you can pick one. You can download the album, and you can pick songs. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Now, for you, are you more comfortable with marketing your music through this new platform? Because you have been around the industry for quite some time. We're talking over more than 25 years now. So for you, was it easy to get it? Yes, I'm telling your age. Was it easy for you to get into this new form of musical marketing?
Yeah, I've been doing it for quite a while, and I've been around people who are doing it for quite a while. So it's just a natural progress. I mean, you either do it or you get left behind. So I decided not to get left behind. And you said 20-something years. That's very generous of you. It's over 40 years, by the way.
Oh dear, you see, it's even more. So that means I'm much younger because I only remember you for about 25. So that's a good thing.
I'm sure of that. I think you know that. The 25 is more. That's more along the lines of the amount of time I spent in the party monarch band. I was actually in the band for 22 years. And I left in 2017 with no plan as to really what I'm going to do as far as that's concerned. And then in 2018 or so, I was finishing the studio, so I decided to do 2 songs. I did Barbados, which is a calypso, and I did So Happy, which is a soca, sweet soca. And lucky for me, So Happy went on to place 4th in the Soca Monarch competition.
That's awesome. Now, in the songs, you tend to do a lot of the instruments and so on yourself, or you have had collabs with other friends?
I've done both. There's some instances where songs are within my scope as a player, and then there's some that I always get. When I need a player, I call a player. But I know a lot of guys, and I have a lot of friends who can help me out. So I don't limit myself when it comes to that. Whatever the song needs, I go after.
Okay. And are you only playing bass on most of these songs, or are you doing acoustic guitar and some of the others you're good at?
Why does everybody call me a bass player? I'm not a bass player.
Okay.
I'm a guitar player.
Full stop.
I play. Yeah. Now I am. Yes, I started out as a drummer, and I was doing both at one time. But now I'm just a guitar player.
Okay.
I play all types of guitar. Yeah.
And you're great at it because you actually have a guitar collection. And Ian is also quite the stunner on stage because there's always this mix in terms of your styling. You even have your own line out now in terms of pushing your brand.
Yes, the Ian Live merchandise is out. So far we have hats and we have t-shirts, but we're looking to do some more stuff. And when that comes about, I'll let you guys know.
Okay, so what are the big plans you have for Anthology? Are you looking, now that we've opened up, of showcasing it at any live shows anytime soon, rather here or abroad?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen is that we're going to do an official launch on Easter Sunday at Bayview in Oistins, and we're going to have some guest performances there. So that's the first thing we're going to do, and then from there you'll see, as far as live, what else we're going to do.
Okay, well that's awesome. Congratulations to you in putting out the album Anthology. You mentioned that it dates with songs all the way back to 1988. So that's a lot to pull together your life's work and just let people know that you're not just a guitar player, but you're a master of other things.
Well, I try other things.
Okay,
but
yes,
we'll call 18 tracks on the album, and then they cover all that time.
Okay, so congrats once again to Skung Alen, also known as Ian Alen. I won't call the other nickname right now, but congrats to you, and here's hoping that you go on and you download Anthology to hear what he has to offer soca-wise. It's been a pleasure having you this morning, Ian.
Thank you so much.
That was Ian Alen with his 18 soca songs on the Anthology album. They're available on iTunes and all of the other popular music sites. Well, Morning Barbados will take a break, and when we come back, it will be time to meet some more of the finalists in Beige to the World.
We do love to party. Yes, we love to dance our stress away. 'Cause it is not easy surviving the pressures of life today. So Mr. DJ man, put on a soca jam. Make me happy, yeah. Forget me worry. Yes, Mr. Soca man, come with the soca jam. Make me dance away. Music haunting me, and it making me want to jam up in the party, making me so happy. Haunting me, and it making me want to throw
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. Well, it's season 2 of Beige to the World, and we have our finalists selected. We're going to get to meet 3 more of them this morning. Harmony Haynes, Diane Jemmett, and Asha and Damon of Beige to the World. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Morning.
Right. Now we have 2 singers and we have our dancing couple. Now, let's go around. This Beige to the World, which is the initiative of the Ministry of Community Development Department in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment. Now let's find out from all of you how things are going. Diane, how's it going for you?
It's going great.
And let's continue to Asha and Devon.
It's going good as well. Long rehearsals, so is tired but getting the rest and pushing through. So we're just looking for the Saturday.
Okay, how about you, Harmony?
It's going pretty okay. No complaints so far.
Okay. Now, this show, which shows you all battling for $20,000 in cash. The last that we had on set, it was like a family for them. Is it the same for you all?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
always pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you all would have participated in some workshops along the way, which would have been conducted by Kirk Brown and Stephanie Chase in conjunction with the National Transformation Initiative, which is guided by its director, Dr. Alison Leacock. And you covered communication, presentation, leadership skills, financial management, and entertainment law. How was all of that helpful, useful to you in terms of the careers you want to embark on in entertainment? I'll start with you, Harmony.
It was enlightening because I didn't know that all these things were required of me and the industry that I'm about to become a part of. So it was really appreciated them going out of their way to make sure that we are well-rounded artists and dancers in the industry.
Okay. And since she said dancers, you will take off here, Asha Devon. Yes. How did you find the programs?
It was interesting to hear all of the behind the scenes information. Some of it, as Harmony said, we didn't really know about. So it was interesting to have a workshop or workshops dedicated towards those kind of things that you wouldn't learn, by yourself. So yeah.
And you, your partner, or you're speaking for both?
Well, I also second what Asha mentioned. Some of the workshops were interesting to say because we really had to see how we could really learn what was tailored for singers and how it can really apply to dance. And what we really learned at the end of it is that everything is applicable to the arts in general, especially entertainment law, which actually has a lot of work to be done in terms of for dancers and be able to copyright our work and etc. So very interesting.
Okay, and Oliver, to you now, but not last, Diane.
Yes. Well, basically, I agree with everything that Harmony and both Damon and Asha said. And I can add and say that the workshops were very inspirational. They were very enlightening, and I learned a lot from them.
What are your hopes and aspirations in terms of becoming a singer, Diane?
Well, I want to go all the way up. I want to get as far up as I can go. I want to be international. I want to bring out my own music,
So have you already started some songwriting?
Well, not yet. I'm going to start that after the competition is finished.
Okay. And what about you, Harmony? Where are you looking for it to take you?
To grow, and I want to learn, and this competition has been perfect for that. Balancing, well, I haven't decided what I want to do yet because I want to be a chef, a vet, and a singer. I mean, the singer is taking the lead right now.
I'm trying to see all of those things mixing there. So are you going to be
Exactly, that's
cooking
the
and
problem.
singing for the animals? How is it going to work
I
out
think
here,
so.
Harmony? How is it
I
working
think
out?
that's what I'm gonna have to do. I think I'm gonna have to sing and cook for my animals. I mean, yeah. I think that sounds great. That sounds perfect.
But be whoever and whatever you want to be, as long as you ensure that you're good at it and you put professionalism first every time. What about you
Yes,
now, Asha and Damon? Where do you want to be in terms of your dance? Are you looking to be choreographers on an international stage? Are you looking maybe to train somewhere first? Or do you want to tour with a troupe somewhere? What do you want to do?
Well, for me, all of what you said is actually what I do want to achieve. I would like to be a dancer first because that is my first passion. I would like to train first and really like get my dance vocabulary up before I, go off into more choreographing for like bigger artists and stuff. And I would also like to be on tour because it is always fun and interesting that is what you're doing for your job. So all of the above for me.
If I could give you a choice of artists to tour with now, who would it be?
Now, well, the people that that are gonna be the prize at the competition, the lineup, that is the one that we want right now.
Okay, because you want to win. Okay,
Yes.
Damon, is it the same for you? What are your plans?
Asha really just hit the nail on the head. I guess the only thing that I could say differently is that I came out a lot choreographing my own stuff, and we are actually the main choreographers for all the majority of the performances right now. So if I do have to get like a choreography job, no, I would definitely take it and just learn as I grow.
Okay, well, that's great to know. Now, everybody wants to be in winner's row, but Saturday is going to be the test. Are you all mentally ready? Diane, are you ready for this? You've had some critiques over the time. You've learned from them. You're growing each time we see you. Are you ready? And how have you gotten ready for Saturday?
Well, I'm ready. I have gotten everything worked out. My costumes and everything are made by Pauline Bellamy, and I've mentally prepared myself to bring it.
So A game all the way on Saturday.
Yep, I'm bringing my boogie shoes too.
Aye. Oh. We got a lot to look forward to when we tune into Channel 8 on Saturday, April 9th. That's this Saturday at 7:30, folks. It will be live. This week's show, the final going down, is going to be live. So, well, Asha and Damon always have on their boogie shoes, but what other kinds of moves can we be expecting? What more energy is going to be gracing the stage on that day?
Well, we always try to challenge ourselves and do something new, and most definitely for the finals we do have something planned. Can't really let the cat out the bag, but when everyone sees it, they will most definitely know that it's something different because this will be the first time we are doing it, and that's what everybody loves it at the end of the day. So yeah.
Okay, so we have to give kudos before we come to you, Ebony, to the judges. Andre Clark, Marissa Lindsay, the head judge, Senator John King, along with Allison Hines, Philip Forster, and Don Lisa Calendar Smith, among some others. Our own Skung Young that we saw before, we've seen him guest judging every now and again. Before we go, Ebony, Harmony, quickly from you, what are you bringing on Saturday?
I have had to physically prepare, mentally prepare, emotionally prepare. I have been working out every day. It is grueling, but expect a lot of energy, expect a lot of vibes, expect a different side of Harmony without letting too much out the bag, as Damon said. Gotta give them a little sprinkle, a little taste.
But so we're getting edgy on
I'm
Saturday
excited.
then.
I'm really excited.
Okay, and
Yes,
we're
very
all
much so.
excited.
Very much so.
We are all excited, and so too will the public. Just know that you can see on CBC TV 8, Beige to the World, and also on the National Cultural Foundation's YouTube and Facebook channels. CBC will continue to bring it to you on 94.7 and 98 The One. Also, VOB and HOT are on board for this national competition. Thank you all so much this morning. Harmony, Diane, Asha, and Damon, good luck to you. But we know there can only be one winner for that $20,000 jackpot. So here's to seeing you on Saturday. Have a great morning. Bye.
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 Beige to the World, Saturday. Make sure you're in front of your television sets at 7:30. Now, we will preview tomorrow's show. What's coming up? It's big time. We'll have more Beige to the World finalists. And tomorrow is also World Health Day. So you'll find out what you need to be doing for that day. And we'll hear from Tahir Bubuya, who's the Youth Advocacy Officer for the Childhood Obesity Program. We'll also have in the DEM with real talk in the face of danger. So that's it for Morning Barbados. I'm Wendy Burke.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.